Today on Outside the Box Reviews, we are looking at the DC Direct Blackest Night, Kryb. Now, Kryb is a disgusting creature, a member of the Sinestro Corps in the DC universe, and she's basically a child abductor. She goes and steals the children of basically anybody and keeps them for herself. This figure is really neat, seeing as though it's not a typical body sculpt for a figure. One good thing about DC Direct is they kind of stray away from using standardized body types unlike Mattel. We'll start off first with her base. It's the standard base you'd get with the Blackest Night. You have the Sinestro Corps logo on a yellow translucent plastic with white kind of marking out the symbol on it. You have a single peg hole which goes into her foot right here. It's a good base. She could stand without it, but if you're trying to keep the set uniform, it probably is nice to have this if you're a big DC Direct collector. However, she doesn't fit totally on the base. You cannot pose her with both feet on it, so she's going to have one foot off and one foot on. On to Kryb herself. She is so disgusting. The head sculpt is awesome. She just looks like a real monster and just terrifying looking. She got little fangs in there, and her teeth are just ugly and nasty, and her hair looks greasy and gross, and it's a softer plastic, and it's kind of just running down this kind of strange way. Blown slightly this way, but just really cool. You can see here around her neckline all of the stuff, her, I guess, muscularity and skeletal structure. Once again, just disgusting. Another awesome thing about this figure is her 4 arms. All of them basically similar. Her hands all kind of have different sculpts, though, different poses that they're in. You can see she's got her ring here. DC Direct, so it's a very bare bones yellow ring. Just the yellow dot with a band around it. Unfortunately, DC Direct suffers so badly in that department. She's got her Sinestro Corps logo. This yellow is also a nice metallic, and the black is a flat black. So it actually gives a nice contrast to everything. Looks really nice. I mean, even here you can see the bone structure and the muscles, and she's just a gross character. Her legs, she's got these weird two-toed feet. Very nice looking boots. You turn her around. She is a very interesting build of a figure because she's skinny as hell. In some places you see her waist is very narrow. In other places she just bulges out. Fortunately, she stands well on her own, as I mentioned before, which is pretty surprising. But here on her back you can see her cage. You have the spinal column going down the outside. And this cage can be removed. You can see there's even detailing on the inside of it. Not that you would ever have it off of her. And inside the cage we have 2 little alien babies. Little pink one, pretty human looking. And then we have this blue one with kind of a sea monkey head thing going on. Definitely a cool accessory to put with her. I mean, they definitely didn't have to do this, and it's really nice. And they're well detailed. I mean, they're not just blue. You can see the eyes are actually painted on both of them. Really cool. And she will actually hold these guys. So if you wanted her in the act of stealing a child, you could actually put them in her hand. It's really a gruesome design for a character. I mean, talking about fear with the Sinestro Corps, I think that's definitely a great fear to take into consideration, is the fear of someone taking your children away. For articulation, she has a ball-jointed head, not a lot of up and down, but you do get side to side. She has, I guess, technically ball-jointed shoulders. You don't get a whole lot of range of motion, but they will swivel. No elbow joints on any of these, but you do have wrist joints. So the arms, while there are 4 of them, you end up a little lacking. And then her only other joint is down here at her leg. Kryb is definitely a cool character, and a very unique entry to the Sinestro Corps. It's also kind of a fair bet that you're not going to get one of these at a Mattel ever. I mean, they've never done anything remotely shaped like this, and there's no way they could use one of their standard bucks to create a figure like this. And despite the lack of elbow articulation, which I think would have taken this figure up to an entirely different level and made it incredible, this is still a really cool figure. As most DC Direct, it's kind of stuck in one pose, but they picked a good one. It looks menacing, it looks disgusting. The accessory of the children is really cool and really creepy and just really sums up the character well. And I would highly recommend this figure. Anybody who's a fan of the whole Green Lantern, Sinestro Corps stuff, I'm sure is going to be a fan of this figure, because it is just really cool. This has been another Outside the Box review. Stay tuned for more to come.